The vibes are hot as the Australian Championship kicks off a new era of Australian football. Socceroos push for a Pot 2 seeding for the 2026 FIFA World Cup draw and ready for blast-off. A-League gets set to kick off for the 2025-2026 season. We are back. Welcome to the podcast with more shithousery than a Sydney United supporter trying to hit the multi-ball feature on a pinball machine. This is the Far Post Perth, powered by ID Athletic. Make sure you call in to sort your kits for next season, or you can download the catalogue. Visit www.idathletic.com. Blayne Treadgold is my name. We are back for a big season alongside me, albeit in a very, very different setup. James Renton, welcome back, mate.
Thank you, Blayne. Glad to be back.
Jaxon Bassett's with us also.
Good to be here. It's been a long off season.
It has.
Had some time to just chill out and relax, but now we're back into it and time to go to work.
Well, I'll give you a bit of time to reminisce and reflect on your off-season, boys, because we will have our good, our bad, and our ugly, but it's of the off-season. So it might be football-related, it might not be football-related. There's something that might be brilliant throughout the winter months, it might have been shithouse throughout the winter months, and it might be absolutely super-duper fugly. James, kick us off.
Well, my good is the struggling clubs that we've seen in the A-League, particularly being Brisbane Roar and the Newcastle Jets, have a really positive and strong off-season. I mean, we can always talk about clubs like Western United or Mariners who've, had their own challenges for various reasons. Obviously, Western have folded, but, it's good to see when there is that bit of negativity, we have seen some clear positivity. And I think, especially with Brisbane, we routinely bashed them on the pod last season, and I think the way that they've conducted things on and off the park has been exceptional. I think their media content has been really, really good, and I think, seeing how they've engaged with their community in the whole off-season, I think they had about 6,000 or 7,000 at a game they had against the Central Coast Mariners in the Sunshine Coast, I think. So,
Yep.
Look, it's a great start for them. I think they're starting to win back a lot of their fans, and clearly with their new coach, Michael Valkanis, there is that kind of feeling that perhaps they are going somewhere. But, time will tell. But I think it's been good to see clubs like Brisbane get that feel-good factor back, even though they got knocked out of the qualifiers for the Australia Cup. And then, speaking of the Australia Cup, seeing a side like Newcastle who've, had their challenges, and then for them to go on to win it altogether. Look, I think those two sides definitely have the capacity to have very good seasons.
I'm going to give a shout out to Joe Esposito, because he is the man who is responsible for a lot of that social media community engagement. Former Football Australia employee, A-League's employee, got headhunted basically by Zach and Kaz, I imagine.
Yeah.
One of the cleverest dudes in the football sphere in this country.
There's so much engagement with Brisbane. Brisbane, they're
switched.
Town.
It's like a switch went off. He is a very, very clever man. A big shout out to Joe. Does some absolutely fantastic work as well. Jaxon, what's been good, mate?
Well, from a non-football perspective, the last couple of days has been pretty nice with the WWE being in town. I won't bore everyone for too long.
Still real to me, damn it.
I'll try to bore everyone for too long.
Neil Sherwin's still there.
Having a great time.
He must be stuck in the crowd somewhere.
And Donna as well. I did catch her last night as well. But yeah, it was great to see.
10 gazillion people rocked up. There was people everywhere.
Yeah, it was like seeing the Minions on Saturday with the amount of yellow shirts. But yeah, that was pretty cool. But from a footballing perspective, I'll go back a couple of months to June and Optus Stadium for the Socceroos and Japan game. And that amazing moment with Bache scoring that 90th minute winner to pretty much seal qualification for the World Cup.
I've got to admit, I'd forgotten about it.
Yeah, you talk about massive crowds. Like, that day was unreal.
That was a good day.
The noise when we scored as well was exceptional.
Yeah. I think for us too, especially being younger Socceroos fans, when you look back to the Aloisi moment in 2005, I was 4 years old and James was, 1 or 2?
Yeah,
probably.
That, yeah.
So we didn't really get to properly experience it. So to have a similar moment in Perth, to be able to be there and be a part of that was awesome. I think the fact that Australia now at the World Cup is massive as well. Yep. And just seeing some of the young Socceroos and how they've been performing over in Europe with the likes of Iran Kunda scoring some stunners, Jordan Boss with Feyenoord doing great, Segacic at Portsmouth. There's a lot to like about the Socceroos, and their performances have been good. They've been getting wins.
Yep.
I know everyone's not too happy with the style of play and some of the team selection choices, but Popper is getting the job done, and they're in a good...
Was anyone... we'll get into this a little bit more throughout the Socceroos, but was anyone really expecting any different? Like, as someone said on radio today, it might have been Joel Ferrucci on Sport FM when they were speaking to him, he said, look, we're not the side that can go toe-to-toe possession with some of the best countries in the world. We've got to play to our strengths, and it's always been our strengths of physicality and our defence. Just be hard to beat. You only have to score one.
This is the thing. Because we've been that gritty and hard to beat, it's given us automatic qualification, and Popper said we're now in that, I think following or leading into
Jesse Marsh used the word stingy.
Well, not even, yeah, but even still, we've now got that opportunity to expose younger players, for example, who've been doing well in Europe in a better environment so that they're not having to be put under so much pressure.
We'll talk a little bit more about that towards the back end. Good. Things just seem okay. I mean, we went through that period from the last 2 years or so, and I'm talking about Australian football as a collective. It was all very doom and gloom this time last year. It seems that there's a much more positive vibe around the place. We've got the Australian Championship that's added a little bit. There's a little bit of a vision that, hey, what can that turn into? Will that one day integrate with the A-League somehow? I think it's a huge step in the direction. Did they get the crowds they wanted? They probably fell maybe about 5K short, I'd say. But all in all, first week, give it a little bit of time. Great to have some of those old clubs back on the national stage.
Got to start from somewhere to be fair.
It's a step. It's not what everyone wants as the end product. There's a lot of water to go under the bridge yet, but I think it's just a real positive for the whole football kind of ecosystem. Personally, I've been just busy doing a lot of football events locally. I'm seeing a fair bit for Football West and local clubs. I'm doing a fair bit with the FSAA at the moment. Just a lot going on to keep everyone busy, and I put in the social media post in the off season, but I don't know if there really is an off season anymore.
It's
just changes slightly. But for the off season, big shout out to my girls down at the Azuri. Well, now back known as the Perth Azuri, taking out the MPLW
really strong season
title. Yeah, they were phenomenal. Really historic win, first women's title for Perth. Bringing it up to 27 in total overall. So
impressive.
Yeah, no, they're really good. And also, I stand out Kingsway Olympics win over Melbourne Victory in the Cup. That was huge.
Awesome.
Really, really good. James, bad?
My bad and my ugly are going to have a similar kind of trend.
Yep.
So my bad was the situation with Central Coast Mariners, particularly
in terms of Mark Jackson leaving?
In terms of Mark Jackson leaving. Bombshell. In ways, but also in ways kind of not. There had been a lot of reports in News Corp about, that kind of power struggle that's been alluded to with, I think, Sydney Olympics owner taking over or putting in funds for the Mariners, and Labano Haliti coming in as almost like this football director kind of role, and that's kind of clashed with Mark Jackson.
Because he's a coach at Olympic too, isn't he?
Yeah, he is.
Yeah.
And, seeing the Mariners' recruitment and just more broadly seeing their kind of downfall. It's almost like the curse of the A-League itself. It's almost impossible to have that kind of sustained success with the Mariners model, for as much as it was working for them and how they were building initially under Stadge, then Nick Montgomery, and then Mark Jackson, where they really cashed in. It's been really unfortunate to see just how much they have fallen off, and it's almost like that is kind of their cycle, and as being an A-League team, that's kind of what they are. They have moments where they're fantastic, and then they have moments where you'd hope this isn't the case, but it does look like they might be, pending what happens in terms of funds in the future. I think Mark Charlesworth wants out or something like that. So, I think it's going to be a tough season for them. I hope they can get a good coach in. I wouldn't mind. I was saying this with a mate. The Heidelberg manager. I wouldn't mind seeing him. I mean, it's a bit of a hot take. Let's put it this way.
John Anastasiadis.
Yeah, maybe someone like him. I know it's a bit of a shit situation to walk into, but he's already proven with Heidelberg and his, I guess, experience in the A-League with Western United that he can go into environments and almost unify. And I think that's what the Mariners desperately will need heading into this season.
Yeah, they're not going to be able to play to, punch weight for weight with your victories and that kind of thing. They really need a a backs against the wall, us against the world kind of mentality. Just need to come out swinging and just real Street Fighter style. I feel it's funny though. I know I wonder now compared to where they've come from. Where's that next
crop of players?
Farrell? Where's that next Ballard? Where's next Nisbet?
That's my question as well, because when you look at their squad, shit, it is skint. It's like if I was a Mariners fan or member, I'd be going, when are we going to get our next win?
Yeah. So interesting. Jaxon, bad.
Bit closer to home for this one. I've dubbed it the Dorrien Gardens debacle.
Ooh,
I think you'll both know what I'm
mention the war
referring to here, with the Glory and the WA state team. That whole friendly being cancelled at the last minute. Just a really bad look for both clubs, and some of the statements afterwards as well. It negatively impacts the relationship between the Glory and clubs like Perth as well. Yeah, the whole thing was just a real big mess in terms of the preparation and the whole last minute element of it as well, and not letting fans know, because I know I was one of the ones who rocked up at like 6 o'clock, got told the news, and then just a real disappointment and not really surprising though, to be honest. The whole thing was just a real massive mess and a real shame.
I think, I've got to be a little bit careful what I say, because I've kind of got a foot in a few camps here, but I think the disappointing part was not the fact that the incident happened or this thing happened, was the fact that, as you alluded to, is it took so long to get the word out. It took so long to be able to come up with an adequate solution, which didn't end up coming in the end. I think that was what it really needed, was the three camps of Football West, Perth Glory and Perth Soccer Club to come together and say, right, all right, we've got this situation. What can we do with it? Can we set up a five-a-side in half the field? Can we have a meet and greet with our fans? Can we put on a sausage sizzle? Do we do an open training? What does that look like? Do you know what I mean? Rather than throw the toys at the pram and go, nah, we're not doing this. We're not having a game here.
But it's not even that. It's the allegation that Glory said no to playing on the surface because of concerns over it. And look, the surface didn't look good. There were there were clear divots. The pitch was not in a good condition. And Dorrien in the past has been a really well kept stadium, and there were rugby finals that were there about 10 or so days before the game itself. The problem in terms of optics is that we said no to playing at Dorrien, to then go and have an 11v11 allegedly at Mirrabooka, where there's been concerns over the surface there. So I just think in terms of the optics and how it was all handled was probably, in hindsight, now that we know it, it just wasn't very well. So.
No, I agree. And maybe some lessons learnt for the next joint venture, boys. My bad is just Perth's preseason. It's hard to get excited at the moment. Based on the results. And I know they don't really kind of mean much, but it's always good to get a couple of wins under the belt, get a bit of momentum, go on a bit of a cup run. I've spoken ad nauseum how important it is for the Glory to go on a cup run. It hasn't happened in a long time now. And when I say a cup run, it's not 1 or 2 games. It needs to go into 3 or 4 kind of fixtures to give yourself a little bit of a hope in hell. Yes, they've had these friendlies against Melbourne Victory that's come out, which has been good. So they've got some hit-outs against A-League opposition. They also went over to Sydney and played FC and Wanderers. But you'd like to be able to say, all right, we pick up a win here and there and just show that we can be a little bit competitive, and we haven't seen that yet. So I'm waiting for that. What's that real carrot that's going to get fans on board and behind the team, rather than just, we're not really sure if we want to do this.
I'm sure we'll be talking about this more when we preview the season itself, but definitely the optics of the results. We've played 5 A-League sides, including Wellington in the Cup. 3 goals scored, 10 conceded. No wins. So it's definitely a concern. And look, for someone like David Drulich, who is under pressure and needs to have a fast start, I don't think in terms of the results optics point of view, it could have been better or worse, for him.
Mate, keep us going with your ugly.
As I alluded to, so keeping a relatively similar theme, Western United, their situation. Just really sad. Really sad. We want to see football in Australia grow. We want to see clubs do well. Obviously, we saw Western have their last season, their whole season down at Tarneet, which, we can criticise about how small it was or how the atmosphere sounded a little bit draining at times, but the fact that they were going somewhere and were trying to create something that was unique, compared to a club like Macarthur who came in at a similar time and haven't really done all that much in terms of trying to grow their brand, I guess. It's sad.
It's funny. So I'm just going to jump in there. Someone said to me the other day, you go down to that Macarthur region and there is billboards, there's flags, there is things everywhere for Macarthur FC.
Yeah.
Like it's everywhere. It's across that whole region.
Yeah.
I was like, it's not working.
Yeah, no one's going to the game. Like, there's nothing there aside from some cowbells. And unlike with Western, at least, and yes, they did win the championship a few years ago, and no doubt that would have helped build a little bit in terms of growth. But you just had the feeling that, especially as the reports came out and the murmurs sort of started to come out, that it was sort of looking one way. And again, I feel for the players, I feel for the staff, I feel for the fans, because no doubt many were put in the lurch and they didn't really know what to do with so little time, given how late it was in pre-season. So very disappointing.
Yeah, no, I agree. Jackson?
I had the same thing as James. I think that was probably the most disappointing thing about the off-season. I think it's a bit of as much as you were talking about the positive feeling and vibes around Australian football at the moment, I think that's a bit of a sad reflection of...
But was that... For me, that was... I don't want to say it was inevitable, but it was kind of inevitable. Like,
that's fair.
It felt like it was only going to be a matter of time before Macarthur and Western United, one of them, fell.
Yeah.
Because you can't sustain your costs when you're only getting 3,000 through the game.
How much they were losing Western was ridiculous.
Yeah.
Was it like 50 million or something?
Yeah.
It was staggering. So
if the goal is to eventually get to a point where we have an 18 to 20 team A-League, then I think that's a bit of a worry that we've got our 12th and 13th clubs are coming in and they're not at a level where they can compete. So I don't see us getting to a point.
But it comes back to this point, and Neil Sherwin always makes this point. If you go back when both of these clubs come out and you went, who the hell actually wants them? Who's supporting them? You can't manufacture teams and expect, right, you're from Macarthur, you're now a Bulls fan. Hold on a second. I've already supported Sydney FC.
Yeah. Or Western Sydney.
Or I support my local, whatever it might be. You can't just expect fans to jump on board because you exist.
Yeah.
And this is where it comes back, the whole kind of process of promotion and relegation. It comes back down to this because you start small, you ingrain in your local community, and you push your way up collectively.
Yep.
You don't start at the top and expect people to jump on board.
Well, that's on the Football Australia and their lack of vision. I think it would, and this is again we're speaking in hindsight, but it would have been better to have seen one of those more established.
It's episode
clubs.
1. I'm already on my high horse.
Yeah, it would have been nice to see one of those established clubs.
I've got a high horse to come. So
yeah,
no. Lessons will be learnt. Yep. Lessons need to be learnt. But as I said, I don't to start. Name me another industry where you start at the top.
Yeah, good point.
You don't.
You build from the ground up.
Bingo,
exactly.
Bingo. Interesting times, boys. My ugly. I'm going to really get on my high horse with this one. These overseas fixtures. These fixtures that are moving overseas, I should say, a la AC Milan, Como coming to Perth, a la Barcelona, Villarreal going to Miami. This is a very, very dangerous precedent.
If it's a one-off, I can kind of let it slide. I guess with the whole Milan
But it won't be
thing.
a one-off because you've opened the floodgates now. Because everyone, and I know this has happened before because countries have played certain fixtures in certain countries before, but I don't think it should be allowed. And there's a few reasons why I don't think it should be allowed. First of all, it is just another example of the commodification of football.
Yeah.
That's all it is. Let's be purely honest about that. And the people who will wear the brunt of this are the loyal and local fans. If there's a dollar to be made at the fans' expense, you can guarantee the billionaire owners will be out to make it. That is the way that it's going to go. That's primarily what I'm 100% again. Now, FIFA's got a huge call here because they've not only got a duty to those fans of those clubs in those cities where those clubs are housed, but they've also got a responsibility to football in Australia and America to ensure that these fixtures don't overshadow
the local leagues.
Well, they will. That's the thing.
Exactly right. And this is why I'm against it. Part of the reason why I'm against it. I think we need to be very, very careful what we wish for. I think we need to be very, very careful because, as I said, if it starts happening once or twice,
there's a precedent, and
there's a precedent
encourages
set.
Possibly,
and we can go back to the fan furor for the European Super League.
Yeah.
This is gathering similar steam over in the UK and Europe at the moment. There's about 3 million fans that have signed up to a petition through their various supporter groups against the export of football.
There has to be another solution. In terms of host for, let's say, Milan Como, there has to be another solution. That doesn't mean they have to leave Italy.
How many football stadiums must there be in Italy?
Plenty.
This is a ridiculous thing. And people will bring up, but NRL goes and plays over in Las Vegas. AFL has been and played in New Zealand and China. Those codes need to do that because they need to grow. Football doesn't need to do that because football doesn't need to grow. It's already grown. It needs to grow. It needs to be able to consolidate itself in those regions like Australia and US and do it on its own 2 feet without big clubs coming and taking.
You've got pre-season tours to do that. In terms of exposure internationally.
And I don't think anyone's really got any issue with those because, those have been happening for a long, long time.
But they're not competitive games.
But they're not competitive games and they don't generally overshadow or clash with the local football. Interestingly, through the FSAA, we actually put out a tweet and a bit of a poll on Twitter and we asked about the tangible benefits from these tours and these clubs coming out. Only 7%, I think we got almost 100 votes through, only 7% saying that they thought there was a significant boost to the local game. 37% said that they undermined the local competitions and local leagues.
It's fairly obvious. I mean, it's like it'd be nice if Milan and Como, when they do come over, if there is some sort of thing that can happen with Glory. But they don't. They go and get photos with bloody Sharons.
But
that's the issue at the end of the day, because it would have been nice, like I'm saying, if there is a possibility for that where they could help Glory grow, but we don't know what's going to happen. And it just, as you said, it sets overall what could be a pretty bad precedent.
If anyone's quantified how these tours help, I'm all help football specifically. Help football. I'm not talking about tourism because people will go nuts for it, and you'll get people flying in and that kind of thing. Great for tourism. Don't get me wrong. But if the WA state government wants to help football, how about you stop parents paying $1,500 to $2,000 to $2,000 for little Johnny or little Susie to play in the wintertime?
Hit the nail on the head.
Or whatever they're paying to get Milan over, put that into the grassroots level and try and reduce those costs.
I'd love to know. I'd love to know what's been made. That Como statement that came out today was bizarre, and I'm not sure if it was just in the translation from Italy to English, but it sounded very much like, hey, we've got to start taking these tours for the sake of the survival of the Serie A competition. I was like,
bit bizarre.
As someone said on there, if your league is relying on a tour to Perth, you've got a lot more problems than what everyone really thinks.
For one game out of the 38. It's not going to be a silver
bullet to fix your problems, pal. But so I just said I think it's going to be an ugly situation. I don't think it's going to be beneficial to the Australian competition. I don't think it's going to be beneficial to the Serie A or La Liga either. As I said, I think it's just more about the commodification of the leagues and becoming, instead of football clubs, they're becoming global brands. I mean, you might as well just call it
franchise.
You might as well just call it the red team, the blue team, the purple team, because there's no, community connection once this starts happening anymore.
Yeah, that's fair. Yeah,
and the thing is, we already saw this as well with the grand final being moved to Sydney. So we've seen a similar furore and whole thing about the commodification and
and this is it, because I mean, if you're about sporting integrity, which that's firmly what that argument was about, you can't be for these matches moving overseas because it's against sporting integrity and the whole kind of home and away concept, and the link between community and club. I think there's many different reasons why we have to think about twice about this. People will tell me I'm an idiot and I need to shut up and it should happen, but
it's important to have a discussion and debate about it, though.
Yeah. Be careful what you wish for. Boys, I'm going to get off my high horse, and we'll take a little bit of a break, and we'll come back on the other side of this. We'll dive in a little bit deeper to what's happening down there at the Glory. You're on the Far Post Perth podcast.
What a run! This could be the one! It's in! That's what it's all about! And when it comes to sports gear that helps you perform your best, ID Athletic has the winning formula. From grassroots clubs to elite athletes, ID Athletic provides high-quality sporting apparel, screen printing, embroidery, and made-to-order promotional products. Proud sponsors of the Far Post Perth and passionate supporters of WA community sport. Visit ID Athletic at 84 Howe Street, Osborne Park, or online at idathletic.com. ID Athletic. Build your identity.
Welcome back to the Far Post Perth podcast. Big thanks to our mates down at ID Athletic. Make sure you download the latest football catalogue, idathletic.com. James, we're going to get into a bit of Perth Glory, but we had some good, bad and uglies from the off-season come through.
We did. John Stevens.
He was in Noiseworks, wasn't he? You guys won't know who Noiseworks is.
No, sorry.
A bit too young for that. Good. 6-month off-season to forget last season. Bad. 6-month off-season when we all want is live. What we all want is live football. The ugly, a 6-month off-season isn't long enough to forget last season. JS, good. Tags didn't go to Sydney for Lolly. Bad, the length of the off-season. Ugly, Oz Cup and pre-season performances have been underwhelming at best. David Ryan, good. Things seem to be happening off the pitch, at least with sponsorships and facilities. Bad, Australia Cup and pre-season pretty underwhelming. Ugly, it feels like nobody really has confidence in the coach, and we'll just sleepwalk into January when we go through the merry-go-round again and try to find someone new who in turn will want to put their own stamp on the squad, need a full pre-season, etc., etc. Couple more. Jack Trinidad, good. Tom Lawrence, biggest signing. Bad, Australia Cup burns us. Ugly, no Challenge Cup and no goals pre-season after Sterling, albeit he did say, about the Sydney game, there were some goals. Sheila, we didn't lose Tags, good. Bad, we're still looking at the back. Ugly, 4 days to go and still no member pack.
Ooh.
That's the big blow.
Yeah. Got to get your hat and your scarf. What's in the member pack these days?
Get pins.
It's a voucher, I think.
Is it it's like a show bag style, isn't it?
Yeah, you get your vouchers.
They used to do it. They used to do a Perth Glory show bag at the Royal Show many years ago. Used to get all kinds of stuff in there. I remember we used to get like a crap load of chicken treat vouchers. It's awesome.
Should do that.
That was one of the greatest childhood memories, I reckon, going back. And
run it back.
Yeah, it was basically every kid at the Glory back in the day on the old grass bank. There was like just vendors for chicken treat, and it's like get your staple of a Coke and a quart of chicken and chips every single game day.
You see a Muzbuzz now with lots of coffees.
Yeah. Smashing it.
Or Zambreros.
Yeah. Good stuff. We need to get a food sponsor so we can just come in here and just...
Oh, that'd be great.
That's true, that.
If anyone wants to sponsor us to feed our guts, that'd be awesome.
Chicken treat.
Boys, let's talk about off-season for Perth Glory. We talked about the matches. There's a bit happening behind the scenes, and I guess we're talking from the outside looking in. Despite there still being plenty of concern, it just seems a little bit more stable than this time last year. Feels like the ownership's got their kind of, despite still having a few issues, got their feet under the desk a little bit more. We haven't heard from Ross Preligra for a while, to be fair, have we?
No, the last time we heard from him was the signing of Gabriel Popovich, and why it's part of the benefits that are intrinsic to the multi-club ownership model, but we'll ignore that. But I think what we've seen this off-season is that the Driller and Stan haven't had to hype things up.
Is Bresh involved? Is he still involved, or what's going on there?
I don't think he's involved, no. I think it's mostly Grella.
Is it Grella?
Yeah.
So he's head of football for the Pelligra Group, is he?
Well, he's seemingly more involved on the football side of things.
Yeah.
He's the one that comes down and everything at Catania and Glory.
Yeah.
I think what we're seeing now in terms of the communication strategy this off-season. I haven't liked how quiet it's been, but then given how things were last season where it was just kind of in your face, wow, 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 Red Bull, et cetera, and then, oh, wow, we're going to get excited, and then we see the season itself, and it's like, what the hell is this car crash? So I think there probably was a need fans were wanting to see, let the actions do the talking. If you're going to build a better squad, let's see it with the signings. Or if we're going to perform better and make the finals, okay, let's try and see it with some preseason results. And I think Stan's done his job for as much as we have criticised him. He has made the squad better, particularly given we've been, wooden spooners the last 2 seasons. The squad is objectively better. But I'm not sure David Julich has held up his end of the bargain, to be honest, in terms of the optics of the results.
I don't know, Jackson. I don't believe that David Julich is I think he's probably a pretty good manager. You don't go to Red Bull and coach under some of the greatest coaches in the world and have their trust and everything else like that.
But I'll contest that point and say that he was doing that as an assistant.
Correct.
So we have a certain remit.
So I guess the point that I'm making is, look, is it his ideas or is it the way that his ideas are being communicated that's not quite getting through?
Probably a little bit of both, to be honest. As far as the results go, I'm not putting too much emphasis on it just because of what happened last year. We didn't have the cup run that we wanted, but there were some decent results, albeit against mostly NPL opposition, and we saw how that turned out. And as far as the communication side of things, I think it's better for them to be a little bit quiet after how last season went, kind of echoing James's point.
Yeah.
But I think there is a bit more expectation going in. I was listening to our pod preview from last year, and I think we came in with the new ownership, and it was just a matter of let's just see how this season goes, let them get their feet under the table, and then we'll see how we go. And it was it was rock bottom. It was as bad as it could get. So I think this season now, their recruitment's been a lot better. I think they've gone for a lot more A-League experience rather than trying to sign these left field European and South American signings. So I think
is it just a fact that if you got low expectations, you can't be disappointed? Is that where everyone's going in? It's just like, hey, we can't seriously get worse than last year, but we're not expecting much.
No, but
is that where the sentiment's at? Do you feel?
Probably
a little bit, but I think now there is pressure on him to perform. I think last season it was a matter of we looked at the team and if we don't make the finals, it's not too bad. But now it's a case of we should be making finals. This squad is a lot better than last season.
I reckon
if things don't get better, then there's a real concern.
I reckon there was probably a fair bit of naivety going into last season. I think there's probably some people that got a rude shock.
Look at my predictions, and absolutely,
yeah. Well, I'm not just talking internally; I'm talking externally as well, because
no one was experienced though. That was in the sense of head coach, director of football, or even ownership in terms of, aside from Rado, it was like in terms of running an A-League club and having a season to season and responding from, a wooden spoon season where we were just in receivership. There was no steady hand to say, okay, here's how we're going to do it. Here's what we're going to see. We've been here before. This is how these sorts of things go.
Yeah. No, it is interesting. I wonder where people's expectations are this year. I'm sure we'll get to ours because we'll go on to our predictions very, very shortly. Tom Lawrence, I think this is not a bad signing. I think there's a bit of grit there. I think he might offer a bit. The ins, James, are you happy with our ins?
Reasonably, yeah. But I'm still going to be a bit of a bitch and say, well, there are things where it can be a little bit better, but that's just me being picky. Overall, I think, like I said before, the squad has improved. It is much, much better than what we've had for the last few years. But I think in terms of you're relying on players that haven't had a large period of back-to-back games, 90 minutes, played at a high intensity and backing up that you're relying on. And what I mean by that is, Pennington's had injury issues, Amos has had injury issues, Lockie Wales has had injury issues, Tom Lawrence has had injury issues. You've got a back line that, while experienced, is definitely getting on. So how it goes within David's system, particularly the new system, because there may be listeners that don't know, we've changed our formation. So, it'll be interesting to see how it all pans out. Yes, there probably could have been areas where we look to tinker with a little better and have a bit more, like, let's say with the midfield. We probably could have had a little bit more planning in terms of the variance in the types of midfielders that we have, because we have some very similar midfielders that are there. But that's just me being picky. I just think, overall it's better, but we'll see how it all goes this season.
Jaxon, is there anyone that left that you are pissed off they left besides Pearman?
Not really. I don't think so. Pearman's probably the obvious one.
Yeah.
But I think I don't have the list of departures in front of me, but just off the top of my head, the likes of Miliusnic went and Sale went. I don't think that's not a massive loss.
Yeah.
And then, I don't know, who else have we got that's gone out?
We got the Japanese boys. You had Hamzawi.
There's no one that goes, how the hell did we let him go?
No.
Lockie Barr was there, and I think we've improved.
Frozen out for halfway through the season.
Yeah.
I forgot what he looked like.
No, I think the guys we've brought in have been steps above what has gone out.
Yeah.
Out the door. So I think, in terms of, there's no one, apart from Pearman, who's the obvious one, there's no one that's gone that I'm too disappointed with. I think keeping Amos was massive. If he'd gone, I think that would have been a real disappointment. But and Taggart as well. If that swap deal had gone on with Lolly, then that would have been a blow too. But I think they've done a pretty good job at keeping the players that they wanted and who are going to be important going forward, like the likes of Lockie Wales and Taggart, Amos, Pennington, these guys. So I think, in terms of the retention, it's been good, and I think they've added to that quite smartly as well. I think Lawrence, I think I agree Lawrence is going to be. I think he could be the man if he gets fit. That's a massive if, of course, but we've been crying out for someone to be a bit more creative.
Is he likely to play as a 10? Is that where he's going to play?
I would think so. I would anticipate that he'd be played as that left-sided kind of 10, in that if we continue with the back three that Driller has gone with, I'd imagine he'd be there.
Just quickly run through the kind of lineups that you've seen, James, because you've been all over this.
Oh, mate, yeah. So are we
looking at a Sutton, a Wooden, and a Caltac?
So what we've either played a 3-5-2 or a 3-4-3. We started out 3-5-2. We've morphed into kind of a 3-4-3, but it's mostly been the back three.
Yeah.
So the most common lineups that we've seen has been Caltac, Wooden, and either Risdon or Majex or Zalewski at centre back.
Yep.
Sam Sutton has been amazing at left wing back this season. We've seen a variety of players use that right wing back. We've seen Lockie Wales there against Sterling. We saw Josh Risdon. He's been there a few times. Trent Ostler has been there a few times. The midfielders mostly been either a double pivot or a midfield three. We've seen
Amos, Pennington, Timmins?
Pennington hasn't really featured that much. It's been.
I liked Pennington last year. Just very quickly, I thought he offered a bit.
I thought he had a very strong season. Yeah. But I think Timmins has played a lot of games. Brandon O'Neill's played a lot of games.
Yeah.
And then up front we've had mostly Jaden Kaczarski's been a constant throughout the whole preseason, and he's someone that I think has the potential to be a very important player for Perth Glory.
I think there's some real attacking threats. When you look across the park and you've got Taggart, Wales, Lawrence, Kaczarski.
The big thing is how it all fits in, though, because the common theme that I've noticed throughout, be it the official preseason games, or there was one internal game that I snuck in and had a look at, our attacking dynamics and our rhythm when we attack aren't great.
Yeah, okay.
So that's the big thing. So the formation is at the end of the day cosmetic, and that's why I'm sort of going as drill, and I'm saying, okay, it doesn't matter if you play with a back three or back four. We don't attack very well defensively. Yeah, we look a bit better. We did well against Melbourne Victory, particularly in Mandurah. But our attack doesn't matter who you have on the pitch. If you can't coach them to get that rhythm going, that's why it's important for someone like Lawrence, when he gets that consistency, if he can get that rhythm with the likes of Tags, Wales, Kaczarski, along with a good structure, that should hopefully be enough. But I think it'll be up to Driller to get it all going.
Boys, we will move on. We're starting to run a bit short of time. We're already at almost 40 minutes into this particular episode, but I wanted to go through the rest of the clubs. We won't go too in great detail, but basically we're going to play a game of take 'em or leave 'em. So who do you rate, who do you hate? Let's start off with Adelaide. Jaxon, take 'em or leave 'em?
Leave them. I've got them down for the spoon.
Wow.
Yeah, I've got a feeling this will be a bit like us under Stadge.
Yeah.
I think Craig Goodwin coming in is massive for them, but I think this could be a season where he is a star and plays well, but the rest of the team...
Nothing else there.
Yeah, I think the off-field stuff that they went through with Carl Veart and Ernest Faber and some of the statements from players who left as well. I think that the whole culture and environment doesn't seem like it's at a good point. And they lost some big players. Zach Clough Goodwin sold for good money.
Can I just quickly butt in? Zach Clough has recently been following Glory on
I saw
Instagram.
that. Yeah.
It'd be a good signing.
Yeah. Apparently there was some talks.
There were.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think the guys who've come in aren't as good as the guys who've come out.
Yeah.
And I think that whole...
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's...
So leave them.
A bit unsettled, yeah. I don't think they're going to have a great year.
James Auckland, take them or leave them?
Take them.
Yep.
I think they're not going to be amazing. Like, they're not going to play the most amazing football you've ever seen, but they'll find ways to win. They will be an absolute pain in the ass to beat.
Yep.
Go media. So definitely take them.
Yeah, no, I've got them in third. I think they're going to be strong again. Interesting one, Jackson, Brisbane, take them or leave them?
Are we saying like take them in for finals or just...
Well, just...
Oh, I'd say take them because
Would you put your money on them winning or doing well?
Raw Solana.
No, I wouldn't, but I think they'll have a better season. They'll be entertaining to watch.
So take them or leave them?
Leave them because I don't think they're going to make finals.
Yep. Who else have we got? I think I know what you're going to say to this, James. Central Coast, take them or leave them?
Leave them and run very far.
Yeah, I've got them dead last. Central Coast.
Yeah.
MacArthur, take them or leave them?
They're such a weird one because I think some of the guys they've brought in, like Caceres is a good signing and Talbot too. Damien De Silva coming in and having Ji Dong-won and Sime Gurazan as their imports. So I think there's a lot to like, but again, I've got them missing the finals, so I would say leave. They're a toss-up. They're a real toss-up.
They've done the best recruitment this season by far and away.
What are you smoking?
Nah, they're going to win it.
Okay, then.
MacArthur under Milos Tuchovsky are going to win it.
Wow. That's a bold call.
That is a hot take.
I've got them in first.
Steaming hot.
I think they're going to be all right.
Fair enough.
And there's no pressure on them. No one cares about them. No.
That is true.
They just go about their thing.
More cowbell.
Western Union. I hate the freaking Cowboys. James, Melbourne City, take them or leave them?
Take him, but I think there'll be a slight drop-off as they try to battle on with the Asian Champions League elite, and I think their squad isn't as good as last season.
Yeah, I've got them just clinging onto finals.
Yeah. I got them in fourth.
Got a bit higher than that.
Where?
Third.
Hey!
For City, yeah, they're the reigning champions, and I like the guys they brought in.
No, they'll fall
Really?
away.
Who have you liked?
I think again, without having watched much of them, I'll say I think Kanamori and Rashani as their import, as their foreign signings. I think good experience playing in good leagues. I think they're good pickups.
We'll see.
On paper, at least.
All right, Victory, take them or leave them?
Take them. They've had the strongest window. Davidson, Jelicic, Jonro, Grimaldi, Juan Mata. There's a lot to like about them. I've got them tipped to finish top.
Does one matter? Take him or leave him?
Leave.
Yep, leave him. I think he's going to be another Nani.
Yeah, interesting.
You'd hope he can contribute more, and maybe he could within that technical kind of way that Victory play, not that
I think
basketball way
he's a different
plays.
player off the field than what Nani is. I think he's a much more personable, marketable kind of character. But I didn't really rate his on-field contributions. I thought Douglas Costa was a much better on-field addition. Interesting one. This one, Newcastle. Take them or leave them, boys.
Take him. I think they're a smoky for the finals.
Oof.
Yeah, take them. I've got them for finals.
Have you?
Yeah, and this is my stat of the day because I was looking back at the previous Australian Cup winners and where they finished on the ladder. So last year was MacArthur in 9th, and then the year before Sydney 4th, MacArthur 12th, Victory 2nd, Adelaide 7th, and Adelaide 4th.
Right.
So every 2 years the Cup winner makes the finals. So based on that logic, I have them there. I think
he's stats king over here.
Wow.
I think having that, I probably shouldn't compare him to Spurs, but it's the first trophy since 2008, and I think that getting that monkey off the back, I think that gives them a lot of confidence to go on and have a good season. I think there's a good vibe around that club with Mark Milligan.
All three of us will jump in for this one. Perth, take them or leave them?
I'm going to get in a bit of trouble for saying this. Take him if they get a new coach.
Leave him because I've got him just missing out the finals.
Yeah, I've got to say leave him. I've got him in 9th. So I can't.
I'm sure you had them in a similar spot last year too.
No, I had him something. my predictions were ridiculous last year, so they always are. These will all be out.
We're going to get embarrassed.
You want your team to do well, have us put them down the bottom of our predictions.
Do you think the potential's there, though, for Glory to make the finals?
I don't think
Yes,
it's
based
absolutely.
on the squad.
I don't know.
Compared
Finals,
to previous seasons?
mate, as I said, if we are not 150% to 200% better than we were last season, there's something seriously wrong.
Jim Aylward has cursed the club.
There's something, yeah. We need to get John Safran out to bathe himself in chicken blood and dig up the bones behind an old goal in Mozambique. Sydney FC, take them or leave them?
Take them. There's a lot of pressure on Ufuk Talay,
Yeah.
but I think there's definitely enough in that team. I think they've also been
I'm going
pretty.
to crunch through these last two. Both of you as Wellington, take them or leave them?
Leave them.
Leave them.
Yeah, leave them for me. They're going to finish second last. And finally, Western Sydney, take them or leave them?
Take him, but I reckon they'll leak in quite a few goals and they will not be scoring anywhere near as many.
100% take them. I really like the look of them. I think Thurgate and Ugarkovic, that's an amazing pivot.
Yeah.
And then they've added Barbarouses and Qual to that attack alongside Borrello and Cry. I think there's a lot to like about that forward line.
I think this could be a season where the Wanderers actually start to really galvanise their fan base and get back into that kind of winner's circle. There's just a few things happening behind the scenes. The RBB just seems a little bit more positive about had some great events already so far this season, and we know how influential their home crowd is. I think it's a take him under Stadge. He's had a season to get his feet under the desk.
It'll be interesting to see how, again, defensively, there were lots of underlying numbers that suggested they were very fortunate.
Yeah,
in terms of the amount of shots that they were conceding and the quality of those shots. So it depends if the basketball game style that Stadge has done fairly well with can work with the new players that he's brought in.
All right. Let's head into a break. Final one for this episode of the Far Post Perth podcast. We'll be right back after this.
What a run! This could be the one! It's in! That's what it's all about! And when it comes to sports gear that helps you perform your best, ID Athletic has the winning formula. From grassroots clubs to elite athletes, ID Athletic provides high-quality sporting apparel, screen printing, embroidery, and made-to-order promotional products. Proud sponsors of the Far Post Perth and passionate supporters of WA community sport. Visit ID Athletic at 84 Howe Street, Osborne Park, or online at idathletic.com. ID Athletic. Build your identity.
Final part of the Far Post Perth podcast. Blayne Treadgold, Jaxon Bassett, and James Renton. Boys, just before we have a bit of a look at what's to come, Australian Championship. Good stuff.
It's been very good.
Yep, enjoyed it.
Especially that one champ from Sydney United. Good work there, buddy. Nice stuff.
Whenever I see that Croatian jersey, I'll never forget a chant that was going around in the 2006 World Cup, and everyone was singing, "You must have come as a tablecloth."
Oh my God.
Jesus Christ. Just the checkered, those old school kind of red and white checkered tablecloths.
Oh my God.
It's, I always just think about it. Good times. Boys, good stuff. Shout out to Bayswater City, point away to Sydney United. Happy days. Come home.
Take that.
Come home and have a result against Metro Stars, and you're looking very, very good.
Let's hope they can go for a deep run.
Yep. Yeah, get around it. Some good games on SBS. Be interesting to see, how it does fit in with the A-League this weekend, because it's a little bit like a Super Saturday. You can watch it all the way through both of those competitions now. So
be interesting to see the TV numbers. After the weekend.
Yep. Good stuff. Also, Socceroos, very, very quickly. I didn't manage to see them against Canada, but it was a bit of a shithousery of a win. They won't care. They'll take it. But a win against the USA, which is happening 9 a.m. Wednesday, so you might have already watched it by the time you have a listen to this, but a win could see them solidify their spot in pot 2 for the FIFA World Cup draw, which is a massive, massive bonus. Also talk that they will not, or they may not play Argentina in India like it was. So that will help their ranking because they just basically, you'd be like, nah, not playing any more games. Nah.
Yeah.
you don't want to lose. But
I think they could pull off an upset against the Americans.
yeah,
Why not?
got some good players, the Yanks at the moment. But they
Park
have
the bus, Popper, Jumbo Jet,
Oh, you know he's going to. Yeah, you know he's going to.
We beat Japan, and I think Japan are better than America.
No, Japan, America beat Japan.
I did that.
Yeah, just not too long ago.
Shit, Popper. Get that
Yeah.
Jumbo Jet going, my friend.
Boys, let's have a look at the A-League for the weekend. But just before we wrap things up, I will get some tips from you. Friday night, Adelaide, Sydney FC.
Sydney.
For me. Brisbane v MacArthur.
Brisbane.
Draw
for me. Western Sydney Wanderers v Melbourne City.
Wanderers.
Yep, Wanderers.
Wanderers at home. This is going to be a beauty. Melbourne victory against Auckland.
Blockbuster draw.
I'll say victory at home.
I'm going to say Auckland. Perth v Wellington. I think this is a good chance for Perth to get off the mark.
Flog them.
Yeah.
Go on, do it. Wellington's squad, it's not that fantastic. Go on, Driller. Shut me up. Go and get a win, please.
Yeah.
Ill back in the boys.
Yep.
They can do it.
And finally, Central Coast v Newcastle F3 Derby. You get a little bit of the road or something, I think, if you win this
This might get ugly, I think.
You reckon?
I reckon Newcastle.
You reckon Newcastle are that shit hot that they're going to put five?
Well, what happened the last F3 Derby? I think they won 6-2 against the Mariners. So I think, look, the Mariners, their confidence in their morale will be quite low.
Yep.
I mean, Wellington beat them 3-0 in a recent preseason hit out. So I think Newcastle coming off the high of winning the Australia Cup, and Millsy will probably get them in that state of mind where they're focused and they want to kick on. Yeah, I think this could be a bit of a blowout.
All right, let's get set to wrap things up. We're going to do bold predictions. I thought, boys, let's do something a little bit more thoughtful, and we can leave the listeners with maybe something to ponder. Jaxon, your burning question of the week. What would you like to be solved this time next week?
I'll keep it focused on Glory because I think it's the one that all Glory fans will be asking themselves going into this weekend. Does Tom Lawrence get minutes?
My one, okay, we'll keep it with Glory. Can we put in an emphatic performance?
What's emphatic? What's the benchmark?
Win by a margin of more than 2.
Oh, okay. All right.
I like the optimism, but I don't think it's going to happen.
I'm going to go very local. I'm going to go Bayswater, and I'm going to say how much of a factor will the travel be for Bayswater, not only having to travel, but for clubs have to come over here as semi-professional players, because I think it's going to be a big factor. I think if they can make Frank Drago a fortress and really tire clubs out that have come over
Definitely cool.
on the flight, and then they handle that travel better when they go back and pick up some away points, I think they're in good nick to maybe go through.
Definitely smoky.
Yeah, good stuff. Big thank you to the crew down there at ID Athletic. Once again, don't forget to give them a shout if you want to get your kit sorted for next season. You can go to idathletic.com, download the latest catalogue. I need to put my teeth back in, so I might leave it there. Jaxon, thank you very much. James, thank you very much. Don't forget, we are back each and every week throughout the A-League season, now available on Spotify, on Apple, and on YouTube Music. So tell everyone, tell your mates, tell your mum, tell your nan to get around the Far Post Perth podcast, and be on the socials over the next few days because we have got some big surprises to come. And we think that people will like what we're doing. There's a few things going on. So a big thank you to you for tuning in, and we'll catch you next time. You've been on the Far Post Perth podcast.